How y'all doing? I'm just perky. What's going on in your world? And we're going to go down by the seashore. Do you have your seashore stamp set? Your IOD Seashore Stamp set? This one right here. Do you have this? It is a 2-sheet set of incredible goodness. These are beautiful. They're beautifully detailed. They stamp so wonderfully. And y'all know I'm crazy about a little seahorse and a starfish. And here they are on here. So I put together a couple of projects down by the sea. This is a duck cloth pillow cover. And I stamped it with a blend of inks. Have you blended your inks? Do you know you can? So Iron Orchid Designs provided us with mixing bottles. So not only do we have our mixing white, but we have mixing bottles. So this green is actually one of our recipes, and there's a place on the side of the bottle where you can put your own recipe. So this one is 1 part Oceans Deep, 1 part New Grass, and 3 parts mixing white. Mixed all 3 of those up, shook them around in this bottle real well, and it came out with a beautiful spring type green. And you know, even that's not good enough for me. I blended blue with that as well. So I stamped this pillow cover, and I used 2 different lettering sets. So in addition to your seashore, guys, you need this. Y'all need the block type, because these are your connector words. And by that I mean you can take your regular typesetting stamp sets and use these to connect words to words. Therefore, I had the down and the by thee came out of my connector words. So if you don't have the block type, you need to get these. These are fantastic. And if you're doing any type of project work with signs or stamping pillow covers or flour sack towels or tea towels, you're going to want this set of block style. So I did the duck cloth, and then I also did just a regular pillowcase. So I just flipped it over and replicated the exact same pattern on both sides of the pillowcase. The most important tip for stamping is on fabric is this: wait 24 hours after you've stamped it and then heat set it. Putting it in the dryer is not heat setting, y'all. In order to heat set your fabrics properly, you need to make absolute certain you use your hot iron, use your cotton fabrics, use your iron on the highest setting, which is going to be a cotton or a linen, and don't burn your fabric. But in order to achieve your best results where your inks do not wash out, make sure you follow the recommended procedures. Wash your fabrics first, dry them, iron them. You need to get the sizing out from the manufacturer. You need to make sure there's no fabric softener on them, because that's a resist. Stamp them, wait 24 hours, and then heat set them with your iron on high heat. I usually put a washcloth, a real inexpensive, thin washcloth, in between my iron and my fabric. That way, when I iron it for about 3 to 5 minutes each section, and I try to keep the iron moving so that I don't burn my fabric. So let's start today with a flour sack towel. These are huge, 36 by 36, 100% cotton. That's important. You want to use all natural fabrics, materials when you're doing your stamping, because your man-made materials are a resist, and they will not take the inks and hold them. They might take them, but they'll wash out even if you heat set them. So let's focus over here. And because of the way I folded it, this is my center point. And I know it's a little wrinkly because I folded it, but this is usually how I find my center point. And once I find my center point, then I can create my layout. Now, this will be hard to see unless I lay it down here. These are the new thin mounts from Iron Orchid Designs. You need these too. We have grid lines and we have our rounded and oval lines to help keep projects straight. So what I'd like to start with, our seashore. These seashore stamps are absolutely fantastic, and because we're working on such a beautifully large surface, peel off your stamps, lay them out wherever you would like. So we're just going to put some Iron Orchid Designs pieces on here, and there is no standard layout to the ocean. Just make it beautiful. Make it absolutely beautiful. And we will use a combination of inks. Now, I have absorbed a whole lot off that one sheet. Let me grab this other because this other has the large seashells on it. Aren't those beautiful conch shells? So take your thin mount, find a straight grid line that you can work from, lay down your thin mount, and guess what it's going to do? It will pick up all of your stamps. Now, this is your relief side, so this is the side you're going to ink, so that when you turn this over and lay it back down on your flour sack towel, you can stamp that side. Let's get some inks out, and I'll show you how I blend them. See this splotch right here? That was my practice splotch, and I truly, truly enjoyed it. So let's get some of our blended ink. This was one of my creations. You know I love, love color. Not afraid to use it. Everything is not black and white. God created some fabulous colors, and Iron Orchid Designs duplicated them. So that is our mixing bottle, and I took 1 part Ocean's Deep, 1 part New Grass, and 3 parts Mixing White to create this little color. Now I'm going to take my Ocean's Deep, so my Ocean's Deep ink, and I just dot that in there. Now, I hope you can see this well enough. I will lift it up so you can. I like to dot my inks, wrong way, this way. I like to dot my inks. Instead of blending them together, I dot it in there, and that way, when I bray it, I have just the right amount of blended color. So I'll show you. It kind of ran together because I picked it up, but isn't that a cool look? So when I run my brayer through that and roll it out just a little bit, I don't want to blend it too much, but you see the color variations on my brayer? That's really not hard to attain. Just don't mix your inks when you lay them down on your acetate sheet. And that way, when you get ready to bray them on the relief of your stamps, you have those blended colors on there without them being blended. You get more of a variegated finish. I've got this one laid over the top of the other, and I don't want that. I don't want to mask anything this morning. Although masking is not difficult. So now we just need to turn this back over. And before you lay it down, remember this is my center point because this is where I folded it. And I have a pretty reasonable line of marcation right here. I like that because when I lay my thin mount back down, I can line up my grid marks with my folding marks. Lay it down. Once you commit to it, don't move it. If you wiggle it, you're going to get a blurry image, and you don't want that. Lay it down. As Victoria Conhorst from Ode to Ooh La La says, anchor it with one hand, and make sure you impress it with the other. Now, because we're going on fabric, you want to be a little bit juicier on your ink than you would be if you were going on a wood substance. You want to give it just another minute of time. Don't push down hard. When you push on the silicone, you compress the images. When you compress the images, you create a muddy image. Gently rub them, tickle them, rub the edges, do your fine lines, tickle your seahorse because they like that, and just make sure you give yourself a good impression. Make sure you transfer as much of that ink from the stamp onto the fabric as you can. When you're done, gently, carefully lift, and voila. And once 24 hours has clocked all the way around, heat set it with your iron. All right, so let's do this again. Remember, line up your grid lines, lay it down, and flip it over. It picks up all of your stamps. Spray your ink onto your brayer gently. So a little bit extra ink because we're going on fabric. Let me move my brayer and my acetate so I don't get any on my fabric. All right, dry spot, no problem. Dry spot, no loose ink. Now, in case you didn't know, Iron Orchid Designs ink does not dry quickly. So this on here is not drying up instantly. So you've got a minute or two to work with it. You've got some open time here. Once you put it on your fabric, though, that's what you're going to have. So let's go again. Our blue center line on our fold line. Gently set it down. One hand to anchor, one hand to stamp. Gently rub or tickle. Follow your detail work because that's what you're trying to stamp on. One hand to anchor, one hand to stamp. Because you're going on fabric, you want to give it a little bit extra. Do not mash it down. When you do, you will squish your silicone and you will have a muddy image. Gently, just treat them gently. Ready? Voila. Now let's do some down by the sea. And we'll do our down by the sea right here across the center. We've got our center line here. We can do our down, put our block style here, put down by thee, and put C right here. We can finish this off with some bohemian border. Love these block style letters because you can just change your look a little bit and it changes your whole finish. So we'll put down, we'll come down right here on our center line and we'll bring our C down under. All right, ready? Grid lines down, dun, dun, dun. I keep using my blue. You've got a cross here in the center of your blue lines. That gives you a perfect center line guide. Make sure you've got all of your stamps on your thin melt. Flip it over and let's juice this up just a little bit more so that we've got plenty of ink. Plenty of ink. When you're going on fabric, make sure to have juicy ink available. This time we'll put the blue down first and we'll run the green across it. That's a lot of ink. I don't need it all, but I do have a couple of more pieces over here I could do. And see, without really blending it, I get that beautiful marbled effect. I'll move this out of the way and I will roll this gently I want to make sure I get good coverage. Oh, look at that variegated finish. Love that. Love it. Because when you look out over the ocean, other than it looking like mud by the time it gets to you, it always has different colors. It's never the same. I love the ocean, y'all. I love the beach. It's my happy, happy place. All right. Center lines right where they need to be. Try to make sure you don't get caught. And my N is going to get caught. That's all right. I'll show you how. When I lay it down, it sort of flattens out the fabric. One hand to anchor it so it doesn't move. One hand to stamp the juicy variegated down by the sea colors in. One hand to anchor it down by the sea. Down by the sea. I promise I won't sing much. Look at that, y'all. We're upside down, so let me flip you around so you can see down by the sea. Let's put a little bit of border down here. You want to? Probably better start on the end. But if I start in the middle, I can control it better. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. This one's going to be our center line. All right, let's roll that across. Set it back down. We've got our beautiful variegation. It's okay if it's not perfect. So let me move this over. I laid it down. One hand to anchor, one hand to stamp. Nice and juicy. Isn't that great? Look how easy and simple it is to put a cutie little border on your hostess towels all the way around. Wait 24 hours and then what? Heat seal it. Good and juicy on the fabric so that when you lay it down, you get a beautiful, clean, finished image. Don't stretch your fabric out too much or your image will get distorted. Don't smush your stamps or your image will get distorted. Just relax. Relax and enjoy this. Have fun. I hope you have gotten an idea for something you can do, something you can share, something you can enjoy. And I'll just hold that up off so that I don't duplicate it. Set it to the side because I'm going to clean all those off. And now we have it down by the sea and we have a beautiful bohemian border all the way around. I've got a little bit of ink on my fingers, which means I probably have gotten it on my fabric. Isn't that beautiful? I love it. I love my little seahorses. Love my little sea urchin. My clamshell down by the sea.